The new Hulu miniseries, Faraway Downs, is set in Australia's far north on the cusp of World War II and features the star power of Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman. It's also an unusual instance of one of the world's leading film directors getting a redo, reworking his own earlier material into something new. Jeffrey Brown speaks with Australian director Baz Luhrmann for our Arts and Culture series, Canvas.
In the 2008 film Australia, Nicole Kidman plays an English aristocrat who goes down under to sell a ranch she owns, but falls in love with the land and with the man, the rough-living cattle drover played by Hugh Jackman. It was epic melodrama, nearly 3 hours long, a big hit in Australia and Europe, but not so much with critics and not at all at the box office in the US. In 2020, when the pandemic shut down production of his film Elvis, director Baz Luhrmann decided to go back to his old Australia footage, so much of it left on the cutting room floor, to see if he could refashion it in a new format.
I knew that I had all this material, and as I looked at the material, I realized that episodic storytelling really suited the epic nature of it. And I just thought about, I could really lean into the idea, particularly from the Indigenous child's point of view, from his telling.
No bullet. Me gulliver.
The result is Faraway Downs, now a mini-series that unfolds over nearly 4 hours in 6 separate episodes, with new scenes, even, spoiler alert, a completely new ending.
It isn't really just Australia with a bit of extra seasoning.
What is it?
I think it's of the same story, but there are different plot points.
Most important, Luhrmann says, a greater focus on the Indigenous, with new music composed and performed by contemporary musicians, and a storyline centered on the then official government policy of separating biracial children like Nulla, played by Brandon Walters, from their Indigenous families. The practice, impacting what came to be known as the stolen generations, ended only in the 1970s.
Well, my idea was to take a very old melodrama form, and put in the middle of this kind of old-fashioned movie-telling style this extremely horrendous and ugly chapter in Australian history.
A serious subject, but as he says, wrapped within broad strokes, even high comedy. As in a scene left over from Australia, in which Kidman watches the well-muscled Jackman have an outdoor rinse. Luhrmann, who got his start in theater and opera, loves both high and low in art.
Shakespeare would use broad comedy to get you kind of discombobulated and then hit you with, the meat of the issue. And I do that in Faraway Downs in Australia. Now, whether it works or not, or whether people button into it, that's up for the audience. But the idea is to sort of disarm with, like Katharine Hepburn, Spencer Tracy kind of broad comedy, and then suddenly, a child is grabbed by the cops and stolen.
As much as any director working today, Luhrmann has developed a storytelling, visual, and oral style all his own, instantly recognizable. Playing with the bard himself in his version of Romeo and Juliet, with the young Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes.
Thank you for falling in love with someone like me.
I can't fall in love with anyone and make men believe what they want to believe.
The over-the-top spectacle and thrilling energy of Moulin Rouge, also featuring Kidman.
Major J. Gatsby for Valor Extraordinary.
The Great Gatsby. Note the hip-hop music crafted around jazz-era scenes.
Gatsby.
New York, 1922.
Another Luhrmann signature mashup, in this case created with Jay-Z.
It's a way of letting you feel the modernness of it. It's an access issue.
Most recently, the not-your-ordinary biopic, Elvis. Always, Luhrmann says, the look, sound, and substance are conceived as one whole.
In terms of design, development, script development, I do all three: the text, the written word, the visual language, the musical language, simultaneously. So it's extremely well evolved.
They have to work together.
Yeah, like 3 scripts, and then I bring them together.
Huh. And you're orchestrating the 3 scripts.
Yeah, orchestrating is a good way of thinking of it. They've got to work in concert, but the music metaphor is a good one because I don't look at the visual language as a background issue or the music as a background issue. They are a language. And I think when you say I have a style, probably a way of saying it is I have a particular cinematic language that I work in. It's a way of telling.
This place is so barren, I can't understand what he would have seen out here.
He sees Faraway Downs as an experiment. Big screen movie house creation, small screen episodic experience, now existing side by side.
You still love the big theater experience, right?
I'm devoted to it. I'm devoted to the cinema, and the bigger the better.
But you're open to clearly, in this case, an episodic, I can sit at home and watch.
Yeah, I look at storytelling architecturally for the big screen as horizontal. It's like A, B, C, D, it's flat, horizontal. But in streaming, you can go like this and then go vertical, come back to the horizontal, vertical, come back. So I'm not scared of form. I mean, but I am experimenting. I'm not constrained by anything except do I think that is a legitimate way to tell something.
Who are you? I'm Nella.
In fact, Baz Luhrmann is so excited by his Faraway Downs experiment, he's already considering an episodic reworking of Elvis next.
I'm going to bring Faraway Downs back to life.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Jeffrey Brown in New York.